this new app. I can do all kinds of cool things in this new. It is so much fun. Oh, hey everybody. It's Dave here. And no, I'm not playing with a video game. I'm playing with my new Bluetti app for my new Bluetti that I got. Yeah, I went and got an AC180, and the thing that's really cool about it is you can use an app to control it. You can check the power, you can turn on the DC, you can turn on the AC or the AC on and off. You can check battery information and see how much charge it has and so on. It's really cool. Let me show you what I got here. So as some of you know, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that about a year and a half ago I bought an EB70s, and we've been using this in our motorhome whenever we've been boondocking. I also got the solar panel, the 200 watt PV 200 solar panel that I use, that I put up on the roof, and it's been working fine. Having had it now for a year and a half, there's a couple of little strange quirks that it has, but overall it's been a really good little unit to have when we boondock. But I've always wanted something with a little more power and something that you could control remotely. And they came out with, a few months ago, they came out with the AC180. And that's this one over here. And the AC180 is, I'll get to some technical details, but it's kind of, think of it like a big brother to the EB70 with a few features that really I wish they'd have put on the EB70s when it came out. So if you like this video, hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell on the side so you'll be notified when I put out more videos in the future, maybe on the AC180 after I've had it for a while and try it out. Today's video, I'm going to compare the AC180 and the EB70 together. What's the deal with these two? So stay tuned as I compare the AC180 and the EB70 and show you a few tricks that you probably didn't know about that the EB70 can do. Let's go.
We'll pack our bags and quit our jobs and have a holiday for two.
Hey, welcome back everybody. So first I want to go through a little review after having the EB70 for a year and a half. The highs and lows of the EB70. And like I said, this has been a good little work buddy to have when we go camping and boondocking. It's been a really good unit. There are a couple little quirks. I'm going to get to them in just a minute, but for the most part, for what I wanted it to do, it's done brilliantly. The one thing that I wanted it to do, I guess when I first got it a year and a half ago, I had this little dream that this would be enough to run my whole motorhome, my RV. And I've discovered, of course, really soon that it just didn't have enough power to run the RV. There's plenty of videos out there and places to look for specs on the EB70s as well as the AC180. So I'm not going to get into all the details and all the specs. I'll just do a real brief overview. The EB70s produces 800 watts of power. It has 712 watt hours of capacity. And so if you want to run anything that's under 800 watts, the EB70 will do fine. 712 watt hours is not really a realistic usable amount. I've heard people say that you should expect probably about 89-90% of that. So even though it says 712 watt hours, don't really expect to get 712 watt hours out of it. Realistically, you might get 630, 650 watt hours, realistically. And I found that we have a coffee pot that takes 600 watts to run, and you've probably seen on some of the videos I use it a lot. At the most, I've gotten 5 pots of coffee out of one full charge. So 5 pots, the most that I've ever done was 5 and about half a pot. Because on the 6th pot, without charging it in between, one day we wanted to run a lot of coffee. So we ran about 5.5 pots, and on the 6th pot it quit halfway through. So and that was on a particular day that we really didn't need to charge it up. We were on a short trip, and we were with friends and made a lot of coffee. Yeah, we drink a lot of coffee. So I got 5.5 pots out of it, and it quit on the 6th pot. So if you do the math, it's 600 watts. It takes about 7 minutes to run 1 pot. So 5 times 7 is about, what, 35 minutes? And then maybe 40 minutes. So I got 38 minutes running 600 watts. So I guess I don't have a calculator, so I can't figure that out exactly, but that's about how long it ran from a full charge. So just be aware of that. That's one little thing about it that's kind of a quirk. Another thing, I've seen advertised that the EB70s should go over 800 watts. Every time I have tried to use something that goes over 800 watts, this will shut off. The moment I start it up, if it's 805 watts, boom, it goes off. It has a trip switch in it that'll shut it off. I've never been able to go anything over 800 watts. So just keep that in mind. I know that there was a couple of websites that had specs that said this had a, what do they call it, a heavy lift capability. The AC180 has that capability. I'll get to that in just a minute. But I've never been able to get that heavy lift capability out of my EB70S. The other strange quirk, after having this for a year and a half, a couple of times, I will have this fully charged. Now this one right now is fully charged. So it has 5 bars, 5 little bars. It's fully charged. But I put this in my office and leave it for a week or two in between camping trips. And I've come back and checked on it after a week or two, sitting in my office, and it's been completely dead. These will all be down to the bottom, and there will be a little red light on there. It means it's dead. It's drained. So luckily, I like to check everything before we go on a trip, so I'll charge it back up before we go on a trip. But for the life of me, I can't figure out why that happened. It's happened on about 5 occasions. Now, after it happened the first or second time, I thought, oh, maybe I left one of these buttons on. And that's possible. I may have left it on standby. And if you leave it on standby, sitting on the floor for a while, eventually it'll drain out. All the power will drain down. So you want to be careful. I have the eco mode turned off on this one. The last couple times it's done it, and I haven't been able, I'm sure that I had all the buttons off. So I don't know why this happens. It's still kind of a mystery, but it always has happened, like I said, maybe 5 times in a year and a half. Every other time that I go in and check on it, for 2 weeks, it'll sit there, and then I'll go check on it, fully charged. It still has 5 bars. Now the AC180, I just got this in a day or two ago from Amazon. They've been on sale recently, and I couldn't resist. I just had to pick it up, and I got a little coupon for it and additionally. So I went ahead and used that. It has some of the same features. The AC180 has capability of 1800 watts. So if you want to run something that takes 1800 watts or less, you can run it. It also has, through the app, you can go onto the app and click on heavy lifting, and I believe it will go up to as high as 2600 watts, so that if you want to run something for a short period of time that goes over 1800 watts, you can do that. But remember, this only has 1152 watt hours of capacity. The EB70 has 712. The AC180 has 1152 watt hours of capacity. So about what, 40-50% more. This one will last a little bit longer for you if you're on a boondocking trip. Another thing about it, of course, is it has the app that you can get into the app. You can adjust the charge settings. And speaking of charging, this one comes, now you remember on the EB70, this one had a brick, the 200 watt brick. The AC180 doesn't have the brick anymore. They've eliminated the brick, and they have a charging cable, a 3-plug charging cable, just like a computer, and it plugs into the side. You have 3 charging modes. You have the silent mode, the normal mode, then you have what's called turbo mode. Silent mode charges this up slowly at about 250, 300 watts. The normal mode is about 600 watts using the cable. I think that's what it was, like 600. I saw it, I was watching it, 600, 650 watts it charges up. Then if you hit turbo, it goes up to like 1100, 1200 watts. So in turbo mode, you can really charge this puppy up fast using this cable. But I've discovered a little trick that I'm going to share with you right now. Something that I have never seen anybody do yet. So I'm going to show you. I got this idea. I thought, well, why not use... Why can't you use this as a backup battery to this? So when you get your AC180 or when you get your EB70, you get one of these cables. This is a cigarette, a DC plug to an MPPT connector so that you can plug it in for like charging it up here. But let me show you what happens. If I take this end and plug it into the Bluetti, this, I found, will actually charge this. Now this is 100%, so it doesn't need any charging. But if I plug something in here and start using it, I went and got my little 600 watt coffee pot. And so I'm going to plug my coffee pot in over here. Now the thing I really like about the AC180 is it has a really accurate gauge here on what power is available, how many hours you can run at that particular wattage. So if I turn this on, you're going to see the, let me turn them both on. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to start running the coffee pot. You're going to see it come up to about 600 watts right here. And then when this starts to drop in power, the EB70s is going to start charging the AC180. So watch. I've got my coffee pot on. It's pulling 668 watts. And it tells me that I can run this coffee pot for about an hour, a little over an hour and a half, 1.6. I did this last night. I plugged some stuff in, and the next thing I know, this was starting to run. You'll see this output. Hey, I don't know if you can see this on the camera or not. The Bluetti EB70s is putting out 100 watts through the DC plug down to the AC180 and the MPPT controller. It shows 100 watts coming in. So this is powering this, if you quite understand what I'm telling you. The gauges keep going off. But this EB70 is charging the AC180. Isn't that cool? So I've never seen any other video show this, somebody doing this before, but it works. So if you have an EB70s and then you buy an AC180, you can charge up, you can connect them together. I don't see why you can't do that, right? I've never found anything that says, hey, you're not supposed to do this. The only thing to be aware of is that this does get a little bit warm. Not bad at all. I mean, it's putting out 100 watts through the DC outlet down into the AC180. So it's charging this up. Let me unplug. I turned my coffee pot off. Now I have one crazy idea, and I'm going to share with you this crazy idea. I've never seen anybody try this either. Here is the charging cord for the AC180. Now I'm going to hook this up on the side. And I thought about this last night. I thought, well, why didn't I try this to see if it worked? What if what if I use the charging cord for the AC180 and plug this into the EB70s? What will happen? Well, let's see. I just want to make sure that I don't have this on. Right now this one is set on silent charge, so it's going to pull about 200 watts. If I had this on turbo, the EB70s couldn't do it because it's pulling about 1100 watts. So this will probably shut off if it's on turbo. If it's on the regular charging mode, it might work because this would pull about 650 watts and the EB70 could do that. So let's try it. I'm going to plug the charging cord for the AC180 into the EB70. Let me turn it on AC. There we go. Let's see what happens. Hey, look at this. 270 watts is coming out of the EB70S. It's putting 228 watts here, 260, 71 watts into. You understand what's going on? The EB70 is charging the AC180 through the regular charging cord. Kind of cool. So I'm really stoked about this. So here's what I'm going to do in my RV. I'm going to have these two together. I'm going to plug my solar charger in here because both of these units have pass-through charging. So if I plug my solar in here, it will keep this charged up. Then the EB70 will keep the AC180 charged up. The only thing is I want to watch this. If this gets down to 0, it gets low, like at nighttime. I don't want to drain this too many times, but technically, according to specs, I should be able to, and according to specs, the LiPo 4 batteries on the EB70 has a 2500 life cycle of drain and recharge, is what they call recharge. So you can drain this, recharge it up to 2500 times. That's a lot. Now the AC180, if I remember right on the specs, this is rated at 3500 cycles and this one's rated at 2500 cycles. So that's just what I'm remembering from my memory. But kind of cool. Hey guys, if you like this video, maybe I showed you something you hadn't thought of before. Really, I'm going to try this out and see how it goes. Come back in about 6 months and give you a review and see how everything was going. So this is Dave, Holiday for Two, saying have a great day, safe travels wherever you're going, guys. I'm going to go have fun with my AC180. Yeah. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Bye. Yeah, it's charging. Woohoo!